Welcome to Everybody Studios. This is Everybody in Charlotte, a series of 15-minute conversations highlighting the people of Charlotte making a difference. Laura Poole, welcome to Everybody Studios.
Hello, Robbie.
All right, so let's begin by how we know each other. I mean, maybe your answer is different than mine, other than we grew up the street from each other.
Well, your brother's my first boyfriend.
I kind of knew that.
But I mean, like first grade boyfriend,
Sure.
Not a real,
not like
no,
fiance or
I don't
anything.
think we weren't making out, but probably one of my first friends, because actually we grew up on Beverly, across the street from each other.
So I did not know that.
Yeah, I lived there till I was 5, and y'all probably did too, about when Alan was 5.
Right. That is nuts. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then we moved to another
To
street.
the same, to Cherokees.
Yeah, around the corner from each other.
Interesting. So I will never forget there was a shelving unit in my basement laundry room. And there was these old nappy shelves, and I guess Alan and all of his friends used to write on it.
Uh-huh.
And there was one that said AS plus LV. And it was a little heart around it. And so I always knew that y'all were
Sweet
early
sweet on each other.
Goodness, yeah. Sweet.
No, we've been friends forever and ever, and still friends. And I'm crazy about his wife. He really outdid himself with that.
Yep. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I also obviously grew up with your sister. I
Yeah.
mean, elementary school, junior high, high school, college.
Yeah, that's a long.
And a lot of church youth group together.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, so we know each other.
We know each other.
All right, so the first question I love to ask, which I prepped you a little, but this is my favorite question because it is very lighthearted, and it's, what do you think of when I say the hardest you've ever laughed?
It happens often, and
Sure.
I don't have an answer but my answer would be.
It can be general.
Well, it's bigger in that I think that I think the biggest the biggest thing to look for in a partner would be sense of humor, because I've been married 26 years now, and it is challenging.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And if you don't have a sense of humor, it is not worth doing it. And so I think that would be one. And then 2, I guess I would say, as we were talking about your brother and about you, having old friends, I still vacation with my best friend from boarding school. I had dinner with 4 of my best friends, 2 dinners last week, with my best friends from elementary school and junior high. So I guess I would just say,
And you're always laughing.
Always laughing. And I would say, I guess, be a real enough person that you could have long relationships with people, that you could have relationships for 51 years with people like your brother.
Yeah.
And because I don't know that is a, I don't
It's
know.
a perfect answer. No, it's perfect, because I had a guy who answered it very similarly, in that he's like, anytime I'm with this person is when I laugh the hardest.
Yeah.
And that just is exactly what you're saying, where you don't even have to say anything.
No.
I've seen you and my brother together, and it's just like a face.
We just laugh when we see
It's
each
just a
other.
face,
and hug.
right?
Yeah,
Exactly, because you know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know the history, the context. Like, I know you.
Well, and also I would say I have a really funny family. They have a really great sense of humor, and they tease a lot. And I think it's really interesting when I just remember dating people that maybe didn't have families like that and weren't used to teasing. And it is a real cultural thing. You kind of have to have a cultural fit within families, because when you partner with someone, because that is such a deep-seated, important value is sense of humor. Weirdly.
Totally.
Anyway.
I mean, we come from a long line of comedians.
Yes.
I mean, my dad, his dad, all of them, they're just funny people, man.
Yeah.
They're just so funny. Humor is a way of life, for sure.
Or it's a way of
dealing with life. Yeah, I got it. I'll take that too. So, all right, let's move forward. What would you consider to be your superpower?
I would say my superpower is I've had a business for 25 years.
Feel free to talk about
Women's clothing stores, men's clothing stores, and I think we were kind of just talking about this before. In the first several years, I did every single thing. I mean, I was the buyer, the salesperson, the accountant, the cleaner, the merchandiser,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, HR for myself.
Right.
But everything.
Get it together, Laura.
Come on. Yeah. But then, and then as we grew, as you grow, that's one of the hardest parts is actually having to grow, having to hire people, having to find people that were better than me at all the things, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's one of the things I have done well, I would say, is finding people 10 times more talented than I am at sales, at accounting, at buying, at all of the things. And I think that's really what's made us successful, is finding great people to grow with.
So would that equate to understanding people well, getting like being able to read into people's
strengths,
authenticity?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I work in an interesting business. It has been fascinating, and it's sort of the mission in my career. I mostly work with young women, and very often young women that have never worked before, right out of college or interns in high school. We really start with, and so yes, I mean tapping into their genius and their gifts, yes, and finding them and pulling them out, because one of the things that I found early on, and this is antiquated thinking, and it's maybe it's the South or something, but oftentimes in the South, women are not raised to see themselves having a family and a career. And I really wanted people to have the opportunity to have both, because I feel like men leave, men cheat, men die. I mean, you can't be passed from your dad to your husband and have someone take care of you for your whole life.
Yeah. It's not realistic.
Yeah, and really wanted women to find meaningful work. And so what happened early was that we had interns. It was when I really started noticing it, was we had young, clients would say, hey, my daughter really loves fashion. Could she intern with you? And the girls would come, and they were just so ill-prepared for not even the work world, just life. They didn't know how to answer a phone or write an email or introduce themselves, or any of the basic sort of professional things that you would wish of someone.
Yes.
And so we made it our mission to really make sure these young women were prepared for standing on their own 2 feet, and also understood that they needed to be able to take care of themselves. That was a real that was a goal for all of them, and that everybody should be able to do that. Take care of yourself no matter what.
That's interesting.
It's deep. I don't know.
No, it's great that I would look at your shop. Capital is the name of it. But you don't see that. That's the inner workings of your system, and I wouldn't automatically go, oh, they do a great job at teaching young women how to be professionals. And
I will say we had a little bit of a name drop, but we had Candace Bergen was in the store. We had an event with her, and she came to me later in the night, and she said, after the event, and she said, do all of the women that work here have their MBAs? And she was totally serious. I was like, what? I don't have my MBA. I have a degree in art, painting. But she said, I've never dealt with a more professional and capable group of women in my entire life. And I was
what
like,
a compliment.
that's it. Like, that's everything. That's
what
everything.
A compliment.
And,
wow.
And I think to work, we work with women from 15 years old to 55 years old. Staff. Clients from 10 to
even
100
more,
probably.
Even wider. Wow. That's so cool. You often hear, life is sales, and that, makes it a little less genuine, but it is in the sense that it's about communication. It's about professionalism. It's about not just selling product, but selling yourself and trust and connection.
Yeah. I think I really decided early on, I love fashion. I love beautiful things. But I really love people, and I really decided early on that if it was just going to be about the latest trend, I was not going to be able to do it for 25 years.
Yeah.
Or even like 2 years, because it's just not that interesting. My focus has always been about women and men. We have a men's store too.
Yep.
But supporting women and making them feel beautiful and confident and together and just supporting them in their lives. And you can do that through clothes and jewelry. I mean,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, you lead by example. I know you well
I'm
enough.
not together.
You're but you have an energy, you have a way, you have a voice, a look that is very, people gravitate.
I don't know. I mean, it's just my own. I mean, I don't even think it's very fashionable, but I think I've just never tried to be anything but myself. Because I knew that
keep doing that.
I knew that I wouldn't be good at being anybody else. So.
All right. Good point.
And my grandfather always said, you have to tell the truth because keeping your story straight is just too hard.
Yeah. I know that game. God, it's hard. Yeah. It's much easier just to be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Tell our listeners if you have something that would be considered a hidden gem of Charlotte.
I don't know if it's a hidden gem. I know it, excuse me, it used to be a hidden gem. I've been going for over 20 years to the real farmers market.
Oh, yeah.
I go every Saturday morning.
Out by the old Coliseum?
Yes. Yeah, out at the airport. Yeah. I go every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. I'm up and
I've
out.
seen you there.
Yeah, it's like my favorite thing, and it really sort of sets my week. And it's big now. And also, if you go past 8:30, like, it's yuppie central.
Yep.
You can't really get much done.
It's shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, so I like to really get my work done. I'm a old school. I have all of my people I trade with and all that. So I don't know that that's
No, it's perfect.
But a lot of people think that some of the other ones are real farmers markets, and they actually often aren't.
Yeah,
They're often things from
stuff.
South Carolina
Harris
or Florida.
Teeter.
I mean, our real farmers market has a one of the buildings is pure North Carolina. It has to be local. So that's I get my meat there, my milk, my cheese, all of my vegetables, obviously fruit, everything.
You drink raw milk?
I do.
Love it. Love it. I know the place that you get it
too. It has
too.
a sticker that says "not for human consumption."
That's right.
So Fifi, my daughter, would always have people come over to spend the night and be like, "What's happening in this house?"
Yeah. I got into a habit or a hobby of making my own butter, and so
amazing.
I would buy their real cream from the same place you're talking about, and people would see it. And it says you're not supposed to.
Are you okay?
You're good. You're good. All right, so let's go to the gist of this conversation, and I'm going to ask, where in your life, Laura Poole, are you making a difference in the lives of others?
I don't know that I am, but I would say that I don't. But I think having a business that's still in business for 25 years is and I've got 30 employees, so at least supporting 30 employees.
There's 30 people, yeah.
But I think like we were saying before, I think encouraging women to find meaningful work and something, things outside of the home that excite them and make them want to wake up every day is something that is really important to me. And it seems to have been important to the women that work with me. And I've had women that have moved on from us and started their own businesses, and that's really exciting. And, women that have bought their own houses, and that's really exciting. Like, I think it's more just creating a little army of interesting and interested and curious people. And it is sort of like a finishing school, I guess. I mean, these girls come out really straight out of college, and it's their first job, and I'm proud of that.
That is incredible, and I know you kind of answered that earlier, but let's continue talking about it because it is really sweet. How do you see that work rippling out into the community?
I mean, I think also our business is a little community, and I think we had an incredible event fundraiser for communities and schools, which I'm on the board of at Tabor a couple weeks ago. And just to have, for me, it's really cool to have, half the people there were people I grew up with and had gone to public school with me. And to have people support our community and to support Charlotte and to understand why we do that, because we all were there, we went through it, we want it to be better. We want Charlotte to be a place where people can access equitable education and have support with a great organization like CIS. I don't know if that was an answer, but I think it's, and on the other hand, less charitable, but we have one of my favorite designers coming this week from Jaipur in India. She's Jaipur and Paris, a jewelry designer named Marie Helinda Tayak. And just to be able to introduce somebody like that to people here and for them to know, and she's come several times for them to know her. And she's one of the most famous jewelry designers of our time. That makes me really proud to bring that to Charlotte.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up as you did with, my dad was the mayor and Mr. McCall was across the street. And, all of these people that sort of built Charlotte. And so I always felt like I needed to be a part of that to make this a wonderful city. And so I've tried to help in the ways that I can do it. I'm not a politician. I'm not a banker.
Yep.
But I've tried to use the gifts, I guess, that I was given to make this a better place.
Well, the fashion, I know very, very little about the fashion
either.
industry. Yeah, right. But what I see as I follow your stuff, and I've followed you because I know you for so long, you're very worldly, not just you personally, but the fashion industry is worldly. And a lot of the trends and a lot of the looks and feels come from far away.
Yeah.
And that is fascinating to me because you're bringing that to this little Charlotte town.
Yeah.
But
Charlotte's not
it's
a
not little
Charlotte.
anymore. I know.
But it was actually it was a trading post.
Yeah.
It was a center of trade, and so I think that we have a long history of that. Really, things like NASCAR. Those women and men. They're traveling in a different city every single week for 35 weeks a year. They're really sophisticated people.
Yeah.
Bank of America. That's really one of the reasons we started was that I had these my mom's friends who were married to people that worked at Bank of America, and they would be traveling to Paris or to Switzerland for meetings, and they would have to shop in New York, and I felt like that's crazy to have. At the time, NCMB or Nations Bank, but to have something that big where people can't shop here to do their work is weird. I don't want that. I want people to be able to do it here.
Yeah.
And because we have a different lifestyle. Like our climate is different. All the things that we do is different from Columbia, actually, or from Richmond or New York. And so I think nobody knows it. And I think that's something I learned from my dad and from Mr. McCall and probably your dad. Like, nobody knows us like us. You know, nobody can support us as well as we can. And so I think it should come from us.
Do you know Matt Olin?
I do know Matt Olin.
He was on recently, and we're digging into a lot of that and talking about the stereotype of Charlotte and southern small town and closed-minded and banking town and all this stuff. And it's like, no, like you don't understand Charlotte if that's what you think it is.
No.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a really special place and a very, very supportive place. I always tell, young people that want to move here and open businesses, I'm like, this is the very best place to open a business because people want smart, interesting, creative people to start things. They want to support you because we want that. Yeah. Whereas I don't think it's the same in other towns, really. I don't think other cities are really like that. And the other thing, as a new southern city, I think we are very different from older southern cities in that in our organizations, we really we want people from other places to be a part of our organizations of communities and schools and the opera and the Mint Museum. We want that. Whereas I do think in other cities, you sort of have an old Wilmington and new Wilmington or old Charleston, new Charleston kind of a thing. And Charlotte really has never been like that. We've always been welcoming to new people.
That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. It's a great place.
It is a great place.
And it's an easy place. It's beautiful, great schools, great health care. You know, it's not. It's interesting when you do things in other cities, and I spend a lot of time in other cities, and it's a pain. You know, like there's so many. I mean, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and you know, when you can go to treatment and have a valet, you know, take your car. That's a very different experience from doing it at, you know, Mass General.
Yep.
It's really a nice place to live.
Yeah, it is. Weather ain't bad either, even though everybody complains about the weather. It's 275 out. It's too perfect.
It's
you
too
telling
balmy.
me? It's too perfect. Awesome. So, all right. So you've got I know you got shops here, multiple here, and then you've got one in Brentwood,
in
California.
Santa Monica. Yep.
And then, is there any expansion?
No, there's no
We're done
expansion
there.
ever again.
Done there. All right, good. Yeah.
No, I don't. No.
Don't need to.
I mean, don't have interest in it. We do have a podcast which I have really enjoyed. We've recorded over 100 episodes with creatives, artists, designers.
It's called What We Wore.
It's called What We Wore.
Look it up.
Yeah, but we've enjoyed that so much, and we would have designers come like Maria Len, and small groups of people would meet her. But I really wanted more people to be able to have conversations and understand kind of what she does and why. And with the publishing industry in fashion sort of not existing anymore.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. No, I mean, when was the last time you bought a magazine? Sorry. But it does.
Fine.
But yeah, so there are not many places for designers to talk about their work.
Gotcha.
And I was on a podcast, Tommy Tomlinson, who I love. I was on his podcast. It was the first one I was I was on, and I liked the results so much because I'd never had an interview. I'd had, you know, quite a few interviews with, I don't know, Vogue or Elle or, you know, Wall Street Journal or things like that, and New York Times. And while I was incredibly appreciative of it, they never really felt like me because it was just snippets of what the writer kind of wanted the story to be about.
Yep.
And then the photograph, I always looked like a jerk, you know, like they were, I just looked like, I was just sort of like, you know, like, it's just so not me. But it was whatever the story they were wanting to tell about me. And so for the first time on Southbound on Tommy's podcast, I just felt like it was really just me. It was 100% me because it was unedited. It was, I didn't, you know, nothing was written down. I just was completely honest and remembered. I didn't have to remember my story because I just told the truth. And and so I felt like there was it just felt like a really interesting medium for me.
Good.
Yeah, and I think people have really liked it.
Yeah,
the designers have really liked it. I think, you know, to be able to share their stories.
Yeah. All right, so nominate someone else for me to interview.
Well, I do. I think Tommy Tomlinson would be awesome.
Okay.
But I also think Minchaya Sari, who is the head of the CEO of Communities and Schools.
I would love that.
He's fantastic. So I think
Would
both
love
of those
that.
guys.
Okay.
And one more, Bob James would be wonderful. Bob James is he was the president of Fifth Third Bank, and he is actually spearheading a campaign with the Salvation Army for substance abuse facilities and housing, and also a women's facility. He'd be
fantastic.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've got a lot of good.
All right,
I'm a good connector. Yeah,
got it. We're recording
that is one
this.
of my superpowers. No. But I think those are three like amazing people that are doing incredible things for Charlotte.
Perfect.
And have for a long time.
I'll take all you got.
Yeah.
That's the point. The point of this show. All right. So, lastly, leave us 3 words to remember you by.
Find meaningful work.
Find meaningful work.
Whatever that means.
Perfect. Those are 3 words. We're going to remember you by that.
Yeah.
I'll remember you.
Yeah.
Find meaningful work.
And that could mean
love it.
Hanging out at home and doing nothing. I don't know.
Whatever it means to you.
It could be becoming a surfer.
Sure.
But no, find meaningful work, because I think that that's the only thing I know in my life that really that feeds your soul.
Yeah.
That sustains you forever. And it changes.
Oh, God.
As we know.
We do know. 6 months ago. Yes, absolutely. That's a good one. Work, meaningful work. All right. So at the end of this, I'm going to put up links, and I'm going to put communities and schools.
Yeah.
I'm going to put capital.
Okay.
I'm going to put
Tabor.
Tabor.
Yeah.
Anything else I should put up?
What we wore.
What we wore. Absolutely.
I mean, I support baby bundles, which
Baby
two
bundles.
of my best friends started.
Okay.
The opera.
The opera. Okay.
No, you don't do that.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Roosters, restaurant.
Shout out to
Yeah.
gluten-free.
All right. So we'll do all those. All right. Laura Poole,
Thanks.
thank you for coming
Thank
into
you, Robbie.
Everybody's Studios.
So much.
Thank you for being one of everybody in Charlotte.
Thanks for letting me be one of everybody in Charlotte.
I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Robbie. Loved it. I'm Laura Vinroot Poole, and I am everybody.